Hi Shay, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing good, doing well. I'm happy that you're able to make time to meet with me here today. I know that you've been through a traumatic experience, and I want to give you some space to express how you feel about it. Um, and also I'm going to ask you some other questions and use some techniques that are going to ask you to maybe put yourself in a little bit different position. But before we jump in, I do feel like I need to, in the spirit of transparency, just let you know that I'm a Christian, right? And so I have placed a very high value on human life from the point of conception. And so I want you to know that because I want to ensure that you feel comfortable moving forward. Is
I,
that something
you
you're
know,
okay with?
yeah, I appreciate you being honest with me and open. Um, I do hope that you won't judge, but you being honest from the get-go, I do feel not like I guess deceived, so I do feel comfortable continuing the session. I just hope you won't judge me.
Yeah, no, and I certainly understand your concern. This is my job here is not to judge you, right? Really, my job is to kind of be a little bit of a mirror, kind of to reflect your feelings, to make sure I'm understanding you, and really to provide like a judgment-free zone. So I feel comfortable that I'm going to be able to do that. And if at any point you feel like I'm leaning too much to one direction, just let me know. This is a collaborative relationship. Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries. So the first thing is like I want to understand. Give me maybe two or three emotions or thoughts that you feel about making this decision to terminate this pregnancy.
Um, I would say it's obviously difficult. It was a difficult decision.
Sure.
Um, However, just feel like keeping it would remind me of just terrible things. And I don't want to put that on the child. I feel like it's not their fault that they were conceived this way.
Sure.
But they also don't deserve to have somebody who looks at them that way and sees all these horrible things. And I just feel like I also feel sad,
Sure.
with having to do this, but I also feel like it's just the right thing to do,
Sure.
just for the child's sake and my own.
Okay. No, I appreciate you sharing that. And again, I definitely don't know how you feel. I've never been in your position. But I appreciate you just being open and honest and transparent. So I value that. I want to try a little bit of an exercise with you, and it's going to require a little bit of creativity. Maybe it might feel a little silly, but the what I'm trying to get at is you know how you feel today, you know what decision you like to make. I want to understand how you might feel down the road, maybe 10, 15 years. So I want you to imagine that you are 10 years down the road and you've made the decision that you're saying you want to go with today. And think about as you reflect on that decision 10 years, 15 years later, what are some thoughts and emotions that you might have at that point? And so, if you would, again, maybe two or three thoughts or ideas, emotions that you might feel, your future self might feel in about 10 or 15 years after making this decision.
Well, if, my future self is to not be with anybody, or have kids, I think it might make me sad that possibly I didn't keep the child because I could have had the child at least because I do want to be a mother eventually.
Okay.
I so I think I would be sad if that were the case, if I was not with anybody or I did not have any kids of my own at that point in
Sure.
life. Um, but at another way, if I were to be with somebody and have kids, like a beautiful family, I think I would probably, of course, be sad and possibly even grieve still over the child that is being lost, but ultimately be happier with the decision because um, I hope to be at least more mature in the future and ready to have a family versus how I am now.
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. No, I hear you. Well, again, I appreciate you sharing that level of intimacy. I thought that I heard you say that there was a duality. There was thoughts and feelings of happiness associated with potentially keeping the child, but also thoughts of sadness. And I thought that you displayed some maturity, a lot of maturity in the way that you were able to put yourself in a different frame of mind and kind of weigh both options. So, again, thank you for that. I think what I'd like to do moving forward is maybe give you a little homework and maybe do some journaling. And so maybe 5 minutes a day, reflect on this decision and just write how you might feel. Maybe even think about your future self and develop those thoughts, how you might reflect on making the decision. And I think when you start to, some trends may start to appear in that journal writing. And I think that's going to help you to make a good holistic decision as it relates to this particular instance. So that's basically our time, but I appreciate your time. It was great to see you. Do you need anything from me until we see each other again?
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Good evening, Jean. It's nice to see you again. As I understand it, you wanted to discuss something today?
Yeah, thank you for making yourself available. I wish it was good news I had to share, but unfortunately, my wife has experienced a traumatic event. She's been violated and she's become pregnant. And she's at this point, she's leaning towards wanting to terminate the pregnancy and just to try to put this traumatic event behind us. So I wanted to reach out and kind of process with you.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear about that. I know that that must be a terrible experience for both you and your wife to be enduring right now. So I know you're processing. So what are your current thoughts and feelings about her possibly leaning towards a abortion?
Um, so a couple of things come up. Number one, anger. It makes me angry because I wish I could have prevented it from happening. But when I think about her decision, um, I feel kind of helpless, right? I feel like there's not much that I can do. I feel like this is her decision to make, and I can try and support her, but I just feel like there's not a lot I can do. So the word and the emotion that comes to my mind is being helpless.
Yeah, yeah. And I completely understand that perspective. I understand your concerns of wanting to balance that you feel angry that this happened and you kind of don't know how you feel about it, but you also want to support her through this time. So I know that that can be definitely very sensitive, very heavy stuff to be going through and thinking about. I do want to say I feel that it is necessary for me to disclose to you that due to my personal beliefs, some of the techniques that I may use throughout this session do focus will focus more on exploring more alternatives to abortion. With this in mind, are you comfortable continuing the session?
Yeah. So number one, thank you for being forthright and telling me that. Um, I think that it's fine to have your personal beliefs, and I'm willing to go through whatever discussions you want to go through. I just want to make sure that your values aren't going to bleed through too much in our
Yeah, of
discussions. I want
course.
to keep the focus on myself and my wife.
Yes, of course, definitely. Okay, so since you are comfortable, we can move forward. I want to take a step back. Let's take a step back from the situation. And instead of viewing it from negative or viewing the negative outcomes from this terrible experience, kind of try and think of what positive outcomes, unexpected positive outcomes could come from this. So you could do this by kind of reframing some questions or thoughts that you have already now. So instead of thinking how having this baby might negatively affect your family, think how could keeping the pregnancy positively affect your family?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because to this point, the only thing we've focused on has been negative outcomes, right? We wish it didn't happen. Why did this happen? Um, so when I think about positive outcomes, that it's a little bit of a head scratcher. But I mean, one thing I can say is that we have 4 kids, and I love kids, and so I can remember my thoughts and my emotions every time my wife became pregnant. We became pregnant with a baby, and it just filled me with excitement. And so when I think about positive feelings and I think about babies, those two things go together really, really well. So I guess one positive outcome is that most everybody loves when a baby's born. It creates excitement. It's new life. It's full of possibilities. So I guess a baby being born is if we take away the context, if we take away how it happened, the fact that a child is coming into the world is exciting, and that's positive. So I think that's one thing that I hadn't considered, but I think it could be a positive thing.
Yeah. And then, so if you and your wife discuss further, and do ultimately decide that it wouldn't be in the best interest for your family to have this child, you could possibly think, well, if you do have the child, could this positively affect another family?
Mm. No, that's again, that's something that we hadn't focused on. I think we have been so focused on trying to heal and trying to process and move forward that the thought of this child helping someone else hadn't entered my mind. You know, it might be too difficult for us to keep the child, right? Because maybe the baby is a reminder of the traumatic experience. But potentially putting the child up for adoption, it hadn't entered our mind. So it's definitely something to consider. It's something I'll have to bring back to my wife, and we'll have to kind of talk that out.
Of course. And it's always good. These questions kind of help you see those positive aspects of such a terrible and negative event
Yeah.
because it's when making a decision such as this one, it's such a big life decision, and it carries a heavy emotional weight. It's really good to kind of see not just the negatives, but also the positives. So when you make the decision, it feels more secure and you come to a closure with it and you aren't left with the what ifs. That way it really helps with you and how you process it, I feel.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think one thing that me and my wife definitely agree on is we want to process as part of the reason why we're going through therapy so that this doesn't come back up, right? Like sometimes we think we're over things, but like you said, when we don't have closure, they can come back kind of to haunt us. And so we really want to deal with this as holistically as possible so that we can move forward and be healthy.
Yeah, of course. And I do want to say that ultimately this decision is up to you, and I think it's great that you guys are going through therapy to kind of discuss and process this further, because the decision is ultimately up to you. And no matter what you decide, and if you share that decision with me later on, I just want you to know it will be respected and it will not affect anything going further if you had any concerns about that. And I appreciate you being so open and honest and vulnerable with this situation.
Yeah, no. And again, I appreciate you. It's you gave me some good things to think about, and some perspective that I hadn't considered. So I'm looking forward to having some deeper discussions with my wife.
Um, Well, it looks like our session is coming to an end, but I want to leave you off with just a resource for when you guys do have that discussion. You can look back on it and if you have questions or concerns. It's called the Thriving Texas Family Program. It provides just information about like the adoption process if y'all decide to go that route, information on child development, pregnancy. It also gives support in ways of giving supplies for infant care, like diapers or prenatal vitamins for pregnant women.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, sure. Send that information over and we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, of course. And I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next session.
Yep, looking forward to it. Thanks.